When I planned my first bikepacking trip, the most common advice I came across was to just do it and enjoy the journey. And it is true, you will learn a lot along the way. And I do embrace this philosophy, but there are some things I learned when I did my very first bikepacking trip that I love to share. These tips will definitely make your bikepacking experience much smoother. So, if you are a beginner bikepacker and you're planning your first trip, then this video is for you. And if you are already a seasoned pro, we'd love to hear your bikepacking tips down in the comments below. Let's share the collective wisdom of this amazing community. But before we dive in, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you never miss any of our upcoming content about how-tos, bike reviews, or the latest cycling gear. All right, let's jump into my top 10 tips for beginner bikepackers. Yes, you can technically use any gear for bikepacking, but it is definitely worth investing in proper equipment which is lightweight and has a small pack size. I used a trekking tent and a sleeping bag and a sleeping mat from Decathlon. While I was really happy with my sleeping equipment, the tent definitely was too heavy and too bulky for bikepacking. It took up all the space in my full frame pack and a third of my seat pack. So the next upgrade I am definitely planning is to get a proper bikepacking tent like this one from Sea2 Summit or another one from MSR. The thing about bikepacking gear is that the more lightweight and compact it is, the more expensive it's tend to be. But if you're serious about bikepacking and plan to do it more regularly, investing in proper gear and equipment will definitely make your life easier. If you're planning to go bikepacking more regularly, or if you're planning to do a longer tour, then investing in high-quality bags is essential. The most important features to look for are waterproofing and durability. Good bikepacking bags are crucial for making your journey easier. A quality setup will stay securely in place without rubbing against your tires or other contact points, and it will keep your gear protected from the elements. I used the bags from Epidura's Expedition line and I was really happy with them, because having reliable bags is one less thing to worry about. If you are interested in these bags, then check out our review of Epidura's Expedition line, which you can find here. When we went out for a quick content shoot to film my bikepacking setup, I hadn't received my frame protection film yet because of delivery delay. So I mounted the bags directly onto the frame without any protection. Big mistake. I ended up with some minor damage on the head tube while the bags rubbed against the frame. It's not too bad, but definitely annoying, especially since it could have been easily avoided. Now that a little bit of frame damage serves as a reminder to never leave home without proper protection. That's what she said. You will be spending long days in the saddle during your bikepacking trip. And getting off the bike with a sore butt, knowing you'll have to sit on it again the next day, is far from ideal. That's why I always recommend getting a proper bike fitting. In fact, I'd suggest it for anyone, whether you're into bikepacking or road racing. Yes, a bike fitting can be a bit pricey, but it is definitely worth it. Plus, it makes a great birthday gift idea for your cycling friends. The most important rule for bikepacking: do not overpack. Since my tent took most of the space in my bags, I had to pile up the rest of my gear, like my camera, on top of it in my seat pack. The camera was pretty heavy, which was fine while I was cruising on flat roads, but as soon as I hit the first climb, I started to regret all my life choices. I honestly think that everyone needs to overpack once in their life to truly appreciate how to pack light. But seriously, focus on the essentials. Make the most of layering when it comes to clothing, invest in lightweight, compact sleeping gear, and if you plan to cook outdoors, pack light cooking equipment. If you need a guide on what essentials to bring for your first bikepacking trip, check out our video here. A great way to find out if you have overpacked is to do a test ride before your actual trip. This will not only help you see if you've packed too much, but also if your bags fit properly, if anything is rubbing against the tires or blocking cables, and whether you're missing any essentials. Make sure to do the test ride with enough time before your trip, so if you need to adjust your gear or pick up anything you've missed, you'll have plenty of time to sort it out. You can also do a test camping night in your garden, if you have one, to try out your camping gear. That is how I discovered that I cannot sleep without a pillow, so I got myself a little inflatable one. It definitely makes sense to have a packing system. That way you can always find what you need right away without having to empty your entire bag, only to discover that the item you are looking for is buried at the very bottom of the bag. For the seat pack, it helps to use smaller bags to separate your gear. For example, you could pack your cycling kit in one, casual clothes in another, and hygiene items in a third. Here are a few more tips. Always pack your heaviest items close to the center of gravity of your bike. Also, keep your rain jacket easily accessible, either on top of your seat pack or in an accessory bag, so you can grab it quickly if the weather changes. You can also have a dedicated bag that you can take off the bike every night and bring with you into your hotel or tent, leaving the rest of your gear securely on the bike overnight. This way you'll have your essentials with you while keeping things organized and simple for your next day's ride. Be creative, there are no limits when it comes to organizing your gear. But remember, do not overcomplicate things. Keep it simple and efficient, so you're not fumbling around trying to remember where everything is when you need it the most. I planned my route close to train stations so that in worst case I could hop on a train and get back home. Fortunately, I did, because on the last day of my bikepacking trip, I struggled with sickness and felt like throwing up from my bike every few meters. I had to cut my trip short, and I was really relieved to have the option to take a train home quickly. What I'm trying to say is that things can always go wrong, whether it's something with your gear or an accident or you getting sick. Always have a backup plan for emergencies. If you are a beginner bikepacker, it might be wise to avoid planning your first trip into the wilderness far from any civilization. When in doubt, know your way out. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yes, a long bikepacking trip with significant amount of elevation and camping in the wilderness is definitely on my bucket list too. However, bikepacking can be quite demanding, and since you're physically active all day, knowing your limits is crucial for a safe and enjoyable experience. I always recommend starting slow and easy. Maybe choose a flat route for your first trip and go for 1 to 2 nights with a friend. You also don't need to buy all the equipment for your first tour. You should rather consider renting out things from friends or borrowing everything you can. This way you can find out if bikepacking really is your thing without heavily investing upfront. By taking it easy at first, you will maintain the joy of bikepacking while discovering what works best for you in a safe way. Remember, bikepacking is about having fun and not about setting a new Guinness World Record. This ties back to point 8, you never know what might go wrong during your trip. Knowing that someone else is aware of your adventure can give you a sense of security. Especially if you're heading into the wilderness where you might not have reception, it's reassuring to know that someone will know where to find you if needed. During my trip, I had a friend and my parents tracking my location, which made me feel much safer than if I had been completely on my own. Again, it is better to be safe than sorry. And that's a wrap. Those are the 10 things I learned during my very first bikepacking trip. If you've already been out there on a bikepacking adventure, I'd love to hear about your experiences and the lessons you've learned along the way. For those of you just starting out, I hope that this video was helpful for you and that you will have a wonderful time on your bikepacking journey. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, we'd be really happy if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, enjoy the ride.